All right. So today we are going to be talking about Samael as it pertains to the fallen angels, the entity of Legion. So last night we read about Saint Peter. Saint Peter, these are all supposed to be instances of manifestations of Satan. Okay, so Samael is known as the venom slash poison of God. Arabic, Samael or Samael. Alternatively, small, Smiel, Samiel or Samiel is an archangel in Talmudic and post-Talmudic lore, a figure who is the accuser or adversary. Satan in the book of Job, the seducer and destroying angel, as in the book of Exodus. Grand Rising Banda. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. So although many of his functions resemble the Christian notion of Satan, to the point of being sometimes identified as a fallen angel, he is not necessarily evil, since his functions are also regarded as resulting in good, such as destroying sinners. Bless you as well, darlings. He is considered in Midrashic texts to be a member of the heavenly host with often grim and destructive duties. One of Samael's greatest roles in Jewish lore is that of the main angel of death and the head of Satan's. Although he condones the sins of man, he remains one of God's servants. He appears frequently in the story of the Garden of Eden and engineered the fall of Adam and Eve with a snake in writings during the Second Temple period. However, the serpent is not a form of Samael, but a beast he rode like a camel. In a single account, he is also believed to be the father of Cain, as well as the partner of Lilith. In early Talmudic and Midrashic literature, he is not identified yet with Satan. Only in later Midrashim he is entitled the head of Satan. As guardian angel and prince of Rome, he is the arch enemy of Israel. By the beginning of Jewish culture in Europe, Samael had been established as a representative of Christianity due to his identification with Rome. In some Gnostic cosmologies, Samael's role as source of evil became identified with the demiurge, the creator of the material world. Although probably both accounts originate from the same source, the Gnostic development differs from the Jewish development of Samael, in which he is merely an angel and a servant of God. Shalom, CJ. No, it's not raining here. It's actually quite sunny. That's why I'm up here. So in Judaism, the Second Temple period and post, what is that? Posteriority? Whatever. So Samael was first mentioned during the Second Temple period and immediately after its destruction. He is first mentioned in the book of Enoch along with other rebellious angels. In Enoch chapter 1, he is one of the watchers who descended to earth to copulate with human women, although he is not their leader, this being Semyaza. So, in the Greek apocalypse of Baruch, he is the dominant evil figure. Samael plants the tree of knowledge. Thereupon, he is banished and cursed by God. To take revenge, he tempts Adam and Eve into sin by taking the form of the serpent. Thank you for the gifts, guys. I didn't even see that. Thank you. Okay, so he appears further as the embodiment of evil in the ascension of Isaiah, often, oh, thank you, I need a hot cocoa, often identified as Melchira, in Hebrew, Melech Ra, king of evil, king of the wicked. Malchira, Malach Ra, messenger of evil or angel of iniquity. Belchira or Baal Ker, lord of the wall, or Bashira, Bashir Ra, the elect of evil or chosen by evil. The names Belial and Satan are also applied to him, and he gains control of King Manasseh in order to accuse Isaiah of treason. The Talmudic Midrashic literature. In Talmudic Midrashic literature, Samael's role as an agent of evil is rather marginal, but from the 5th or 6th century onward, this name again becomes one of the most prominent among the demonic entities. Samael has not been identified with the angel of death in the Talmud. In the Exodus Rabbah, Samael is depicted as the accuser in the heavenly court and tempting to sin, while Michael defends Israel's actions. Here, Samael is identified with Satan. While Satan describes his function as an accuser, Samael is considered to be his proper name. He also fulfills the role of the angel of death when he comes to take the body of Moses, and is called the leader of the Satans, or the leader of Satans. The title of Satan is also applied to him in the Midrash, Perk de Rabbi Eliezer, where he is the chief of the fallen angels and a 12-winged serpent, or seraph. According to the text, he opposed the creation of Adam and descended to earth to tempt him into evil. Riding the serpent, he convinces Eve to eat the forbidden fruit. His role here might be similar to the Islamic idea of Iblis, who refused to prostrate himself before Adam because he consists of fire and Adam merely from dust. The Midrash also reveals Samael fathered Cain with Eve. In the Midrash Conan, he is the ruler of the third hell. Several sources, such as Yalkut Shimoni or Shimoni, describe him as the guardian angel of Esau, relating him to Rome, the one who wrestled with Jacob, the angel who ordered Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, and a patron of Edom. In the Kabbalah, A.E. Waite, page 255, Samael is described as the severity of God and is listed fifth of the archangels of the world of Briah. Among his portions are Esau, the people who inherit the sword and bring war, the goats and Seerim, demons, and the destroyer angels. Although both Samael and Lilith are major demons in earlier Jewish traditions, I lost my spot. Okay. They do not appear paired until the second half of the 13th century, when they are introduced together. Lilith is a demon created alongside Adam, originally created for the role of Eve, that Eve would fill, who then becomes Samael's bride. With her, Samael created a host of demon children, including a son, the sword of Samael, or of Ashmedai. In the Kabbalistic work, Treatise on the Left Emanation, he is part of the Klapoth, the prince of all demons and spouse of Lilith. The two are said to parallel Adam and Eve, being emanated together from the throne of glory as a counterpart. Asmodeus is also mentioned to be subservient. Again. So Asmodeus is also mentioned to be subservient to Samael and married to a younger, lesser Lilith. According to the treatise, God castrated Samael in order not to fill the world with their demonic offspring, this being the reason why Lilith seeks to fornicate with men. In the Zohar, one of the Kabbalah's main works, Samael is described as a leader of the divine forces of destruction, being part of the Klapoth. He is mentioned again as the serpent's rider and is described as having mated with Eshet, Zonanim, or Neamah, and Agrat Bat Malat. all being angels of sacred prostitution. Angels, quote unquote. Notably, the same work later calls him Azrael, which might be a case of mistaken identity or no. The same work later calls him Azazel, which might be a case of mistaken identity, as Azazel may be himself in Zoharistic lore a combination of the angels Asa and Azrael. It is also said that the Baal Shem Tov once summoned Samael to make him do his bidding. He is also depicted as the angel of death and one of the 7 archangels, the ruler over the 5th heaven and commander of 2 million angels, such as the chief of all the destroying angels. According to the apocryphal Gedulat Moshe, the apocalypse of Moses, the ascension of Moses in the Legends of the Jews by Louis Ginsburg, Samael is also mentioned as being in the 7th heaven. In the last heaven, Moses saw 2 angels, each 500 parasangs in height, forged out of chains of black fire and red fire. The angels Af, meaning anger, and Hema, meaning wrath, whom God created at the beginning of the world to execute his will. Moses was disquieted when he looked upon them, but Metatron embraced him and said, Moses, Moses, thou favorite of God, fear not and be not terrified. And Moses became calm. There was another angel in the 7th heaven, different in appearance from all the others and of frightful mien. His height was so great it would have taken 500 years to cover a distance equal to it, and from the crown of his head to the soles of his feet he was studded with glaring eyes. This one, said Metatron, addressing Moses, is Samael, who takes the soul away from man. Whither goes he now? Asked Moses. And Metatron replied, to fetch the soul of Job, the pious, or the pious. Thereupon Moses prayed to God in these words, may it be thy will, my God and the God of my fathers, not to let me fall into the hands of this angel. In Gnosticism, in the Apocryphon of John, on the origin of the world and hypostasis of the archons, found in the Nag Hammadi library, Samael is one of 3 names of the demiurge, whose other names is Yaldabaoth and Sakwas. After Yaldabaoth claims sole divinity for himself, the voice of Sophia comes forth calling him Samael due to his ignorance. On the origin of the world, his name is explained as blind God, and his fellow archons are said to be blind too. This reflecting the characteristics of the Christian devil, making people blind, as does the devil in 2 Corinthians 4. Also, Samael is the first sinner in the hypostasis of the archons and the first epistle of John. Both these calls the devil as a sinner from the beginning. These characteristics, combined with his boasting, conflates the Jewish God with the devil. His appearance is that of a lion-faced serpent. Although the Gnostics and Jewish originally used the same source, both depictions of Samael developed independently. He is sometimes confused in some books with Camael, Camael, who appears in the Gnostic Gospel of the Egyptians, also as an evil power, whose name is similar to words meaning like God, but Camael with the Vav or Vav is missing. The name might be explained because in Jewish traditions, the snake had the form of a camel before it was banished by God. Hmm. Very interesting. And anthroposophy. Yeah. Anthroposophy. To anthroposophists, Samael is known as one of the seven archangels. Saint Gregory gives the seven archangels as Anael, Gabriel, Michael, Oripiel, Raphael, Samael, and Zerachiel. They are all imagined to have a special assignment to act as a global Zeitgeist, a time spirit, each for periods of about 360 years. This is on the subject of Samael, the fallen angel, Samael. The angels that were supposed to come down and want to mate with the human women. The leaders of the fallen angels is who we're talking about, the little series that I'm doing. So it started off with Azazel, and now we're reading about Samael. You can find it in the encyclopedia. I literally just go and copy the encyclopedia. Okay, so the Zeitgeist. In the 18th and 19th century German philosophy, a Zeitgeist, capitalized in German, Tsaitgeist, the spirit of the age, is an invisible agent, force, or daemon, Daemon, dominating the characteristics of a given epoch in world history. The term is usually associated with George W. F. Hegel, contrasting with Hegel's use of Volksgeist, the national spirit, and Weltgeist, a world spirit. Its coinage and popularization precede Hegel and are mostly due to Herder and Goethe. Other philosophers who were associated with such concepts include Spencer and Voltaire. Contemporary use of the term, sometimes more colloquially, refers to a schema of fashions or fads that prescribes what is considered to be acceptable or tasteful for an era, as in like the field of architecture. The theory of leadership. So I am the world's tutor. Yep. Yeshua's disciple. Yep. All of that. You should know. Read the book. It'll tell you. All right. Anyway, enough distractions. Enough distractions. The Hegelian concept is in contrast to the great man theory propounded by Thomas Carlyle, which sees history as the result of the actions.
Speak on me.
You gotta have a good sense of humor in this day and age. Otherwise, you would simply die. So,
But don't tutor me. I do the tutoring. You talk to my life. You can talk. Nah.
He know. Anyway, so what is this? Contradistinct Hegel perceived such great men, specifically Napoleon, as the embodiment of the world spirit, the world soul on horseback. Okay. Carlyle stresses that leaders do not become leaders by fate or accident. Instead, these individuals possess characteristics of great leaders, and these characteristics allow them to obtain positions of power. According to Hegel biographer D.R. Forsyth, Leo Tolstoy disagreed with Carlyle's perspective, instead believing that leadership, like other things, was a product of the Zeitgeist, the social circumstances at the time. Great man theory and Zeitgeist theory may be included in two main areas of thought in psychology.
Get it back in blood, nigga.
For instance, great man theory is very similar to the trait approach. Trait researchers are interested in identifying the various personality traits that underlie human behaviors, such as conformity, leadership, or other social behaviors like trolling. Thus, they agree that leadership is primarily a quality of an individual, and that some people are predispositioned to be a leader, whereas others are born to follow the leaders. So, in contrast, situationist researchers believe that social influence is what determines human behaviors. Therefore, situationism is one of the same opinion as Zeitgeist theory. Leaders are created from the social environment and are molded from the situation. The concept of Zeitgeist also relates to the sociological tradition that stems from Emil Durkheim and recently developed into social capital theory, as exemplified by the work of Patrick Hunout. Whatever. These two perspectives have been combined to create what is known as the interactional approach to leadership. This approach asserts that leadership is developed through the mixing of personality traits and the situation. Y'all know he's security. He is my brother. Aquarius, the air, the water. Anyway, further.
Hey, throw that mine out, bro. I want to mirror.
Who was that?
I want to rip down.
Oh.
You want down, bro.
Hey, gotta keep the peace.
No.
All right, so further, this approach was expressed by social psychologist Kurt Lewin by the equation B equals F, where behavior is B, a function F of the person being P, and the environment E. In self-help and business models, executives, venture capitalists, journalists, and authors have argued that the idea of a zeitgeist is useful in understanding the emergence of industries or simultaneous inventions. Malcolm Gladwell argued in his book, Outliers, that entrepreneurs who succeeded often share similar characteristics. Early personal or significant exposure to knowledge and skills in the early stages of a nascent industry. So I am, well, that just goes more into the Zeitgeist, but we get it. It is the world spirit, or a national spirit that the fallen angel legion embodies. So there it says 200 angels came down, made this agreement. So they if they all made this agreement, that means they're one body, one mind. Just like the army, they're their own army, and they move like an army when coming against the chosen ones. Okay, so that is Samael. I don't know how I missed that last night. It must not have been meant to read at the time. They say keep it respectful. That's all. Both ways. Both ways.
You made you smelling my girl panties. Wine. Oh, you nothing. Shouldn't be over here.
Okay.
Oh, I ain't mad at me.
So that was Samael. We are going to see where the spirit leads us next. I will be back later. Gotta go collect some firewood and whatnot. All right, guys. Big hearts in the chat. Thank you for the likes and the gifts. Love you much. Peace out.